Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Fallout New Vegas. We're inside a high school of all places, a simulation of a high school inside the DLC, one of the DLCs. And you would have thought that this was just the end of it, but apparently I came in from the wrong side, or you have to come in from both sides, so to get this sonic emitter upgrade, which we desperately need despite the fact that the sonic emitter itself is broken and I don't have the right kind of guns to repair it. But yeah, we need it to be upgraded if we were going to actually use it. I am incredibly over encumbered, as it were, and yeah, I guess the local map says go this way. And I guess we're not in the high school section simulation. That was on the other side of that door. I think we possibly are maybe in the back sides or the back rooms of it where the observation decks would go. Still getting tons of wonder glue and tons of crafting ingredients without really having crafting tables to craft anything, nor really having anything to craft. So we have sit, stay, kill being shown here, and then on the board we see a human, I guess, petting the robo-dogs. And so this is where some of the robo-dogs, I think, have been invented. And so we're getting some kind of backstory of where robo-dogs would be in the main game. Not that we run into that many robo-dogs in the main game. And the thought,
Please step into the open and identify yourself. Law-abiding citizens have nothing to fear.
probably gonna attack me. It's just around this corner. We saw it earlier.
Scanning for hostiles.
And so you saw the Securitron from this observation.
This area clear.
Deck.
With search protocol.
The residential test.
Do not be alarmed.
Wasn't that shut down for some reason?
So, yeah. We are making a lot of progress as far as challenges. I don't know if that's really helping much of anything overall. And this is a long hallway section that, if I was not over encumbered, I would just run through. They are.
My pet, Gabe. I'd forgotten about the old boy and the countless experiments I'd done on him back at his. Gabe? Gabe, you're about to have your favorite treat. A visitor. Won't that be nice? Don't eat the visitor, boy. Don't, please.
So you can see how this is a walk and talk section of some sort. We have Mobius pretending to be someone else, although not really doing a good job of it. That lobotomite, notice, did not have a scar on his spine. So here's more of the observation room. So, yeah. This feels like this is going to be a boss fight.
Gabe would bark and snarl and bite whenever anyone came to visit. That's why I replaced his legs with spare parts and fed him a steady diet of psycho-laced dog chow.
So, yeah. The exit is this way, and the local map wants me to go that way, so before we go that way, let's investigate what is over here. Just grabbing way too much stuff still. Anyway, if they got rid of like 30% of the items, just overlapped their value, then items would stack much better in the inventory, and it would just be a lot less of a hassle. And so we finally have found a crafting bench. Let's actually see what we can craft. One question certainly to ask here is if there possibly was a case here where I was supposed to... This is the kennel. This is residential observation. Yeah. I may just be missing a lot of things that could have been done. Microfusion cell clusters, microfusion cell grenades. Just go and do recycling while we think about this. Let's make a clusters because I don't think I've done that before. Of course, these take your microfusion cells, so that means you can't use them for microfusion cell overcharges. Weapon repair kit. Okay, we can use that. We should use that. Okay. So where are we otherwise though? Like, to make bottle cap mines we need sensor modules. We don't have sensor modules. To, let's see, make cookery to metal, you would need metal cooking pans, a metal cooking pot, and a pot. To make the cosmic knife clean, you need a cosmic knife and a Braxo cleaner. To make a cosmic knife spear, we need all of that. A lot of these are just hides and belts. We have this Datura hide, which would work with Wonder Glue and Sacred Datura root, which would not going to happen. We need surgical tubing if we were going to make a doctor's bag, which are a really tiny thing that you can't really see in the open world. And it almost always is in the open world. You can make a fat mine using a mini nuke. Which, why would you ever make a mine using a mini nuke? Flamer fuel needs corn. Maize. Gas bomb needs duct tape and sensor modules. Let's see. still have yet to figure out how to make a cosmic knife. It almost feels like there's only going to be one in the entire game. Yeah. It's meals to metal, butter knife, fork, metal spoon, and tin plate is not worth ever trying to do. Nuka-Cola quartz versus a Nuka-Cola victory. Just really depends on whether you want low light vision, an extra damage resistance, versus action points and minus perception. Victory is probably more useful. Nuka-Cola grenade would need a Nuka-Cola quartz, so I guess you should make Nuka-Cola quartzes. Then there's just a bunch of recycling, sensor modules. Okay, so I would need 25 blank books to make a barter book, and then melee weapon books. Okay, so we now know what the Wonder Glue is all about. So we do want to hold on to Wonder Glue as a thing, but we've got to figure out where we're going to find blank books. We have like pre-war books, but I don't think that is counting as a blank book. Then I imagine the rest of this. Yeah. Scrap electronics, scrap metal, and Wonder Glue for weapon repair kits. Okay. Let's go over here and equip this. I don't know how to use a weapon repair kit. Then, let's see, repairs your current weapon. Well, that's not gonna work for pretty much anything that's not equipped. Okay. So let's now just go through here and see if we can drop. Well, we're at 413. I don't think there's a reason to even bother to try and drop things. It's just not going to really help much. The one thing I'm looking for here would be, do I have any pre-war books? I don't have anything labeled blank book. And I think I dropped... No, pre-war book here is not a blank book. So there's got to be something else. We need some special conversion of pre-war books into blank books, or blank books are actually going to be extremely rare. Okay. Let's look at the local map. Where does this kennel lead? It leads to an exit door that way. And where does residential observation lead? I imagine it leads to... More of the same. Apparently, I got within just the range of this guy. So we're in an interesting situation here where I think what we'll find is that this way would just take me backwards through areas I haven't searched yet.
Gabe, I am sorry I put your brain in a bowl, boy. Oh, who's a good boy? You are.
So it seems like there is just like a whole either fake house in a cave, fake city section in a cave, or there's maybe a real city section there that was under observation and they built the facility around it. So we can pretend like we're going to read all of this. I do have a theory that Mobius is either number 8, because a Mobius strip would be like an infinity sign, and the number 8 is an infinity sign on the side, or Mobius is actually just all of the brain trust completely, all of the floating brains we meet at the think tank, and they are either crazy or they are putting you through an experiment. And crazy is a wide description of what I suspect might have happened, that they may have cut out an evil part of their brain and or an unwanted part of their brain of some sort, and then they may have left the remaining parts in the think tank floating computers. I guess at a certain point, if you're just over encumbered, you might as well just take everything. What this probably would do, if I took the perk that made things less than 2 pounds half their weight, there is a possibility there that, let's see, I want us to go here. We probably may exit out from that door. Yeah, that might bring me down from about 400 pounds right now to 200 pounds if I took that perk. But I just can't imagine actually taking that perk with the last 3 or 4 perks that may be available to us. And I hope I didn't miss something here where you were supposed to take a perk that would have given you more perks in the long run. Let's see. Interact hotkeyed. Yeah. So this whole area where we are now looks like the area we were at before. Because I think it is exactly the same location. I think what's going to happen here is the whole place is just going to reactivate. Yeah. We did institutional data retrieval. Now we're going to spin around the world effectively and do residential cyberguard testing. Having pop-ups during that whole process. And I think we already have seen the kennel. Let's just see. Nope, that requires a key. And I don't think we searched that other area. Could try and drop items. Let's give it a chance. Let's actually play the game. So let's see, baseball bat at 31, brush gun, cleaver's value is 20, knife's value is probably not as high as 20. It's at 19. Lead pipe is at 75. Police batons are at a value of 70. But these police batons start at a value of 87. So that's interesting. Oh, probably because I had two of them. That would be my guess as to what happened there. And then this is mostly just going to come down to these are at 102. These are at 150 at full. So let's see. Lower my mask. Lower my mask. So it's 124 for lower my goggles. It's 150 for a mask. It's 500 for masks and goggles. So pretty obviously you want the mask and goggles. That also makes a lot of sense. It's 400 for a perfect patient gown. So these values are kind of high. This recon armor, unfortunately, is not going to be one I can use to craft anything else with. So that alone doesn't get you very far. Like, there still would just be a lot more sorting that would have to happen to try and become unencumbered. Way more than I think is possible.
Sonic emitter schematics. Klein water, all right, boy? Let the intruder dig it up wherever you buried it. Down, boy. Stop it. Gabe! No! His cyber dog atomic core. It's active. That means an exceedingly imprecise countdown to critical failure in 10. Boros, why the hell did you install an atomic core? It'll blow to reach 1, right?
9. All will be fine.
7. Yes, 7. 6. Halfway to destruction, measured in clicks. 5 by 5. Someone's coming in line. 4, as in forbidden. Do you hear me, think tank? It is I, Mobius, hacking your freaquinosity. Mobius? 3. as in too late. I hope it's glowing up right now in your faces!
So yeah, he blew up. I fortunately was just far enough away that it didn't affect me. I wasn't certain that this wasn't just going to blow up and explode this entire area. This entire area feels like it has to be visited secondly after the high school. And this does just seem like a random boss fight area. Which, that is something certainly different compared to the main game. That we see basically no boss fight area in the main game. Even when you're at the very end and you're fighting the Legate, it is just him wandering around and doing poor pathfinding in a camp full of other decorations and distractions. So we are in a kind of weird situation here where either I need to find a digging spot / grave, or I need to be informed that there's nothing here to find. Seems like the digging spots may be more in the central spot of the map. And then there's secondary spots to search also. Definitely making this more of a hidden object game. Now, find the buried treasure. Which, by the way, what happens if you don't have a shovel on you? I could easily see a lot of players saying, I'm not going to carry a shovel with me. It really would have been smarter for you just to get a perk that lets you be a grave robber. That makes me suspect that the schematics, if they are here or not, are not actually buried in the ground. Imagine being over encumbered and then walking around this entire area and not having a shovel. So you would have to slowly walk your way back to the center of the map. All the buildings seem to be boarded up. I would assume no physics on the swings. I'd assume at this rate that this was just a simulation, not an actual city, from the smallness of it all. Now, if this is a case where it's always in the last place you look, even that would be fairly different from the rest of Fallout New Vegas. You would think the game would have to make a joke about that at a certain point, where they go, it's always in the last place you look. Of course, it really can't be in the last place you look if the arrow, the radar, was supposed to be pointing you in a direction. It can't point you into a direction if the direction is changing without being a little bit more creative on the map as far as what to do. Holotape contains the audio sample of Gabriel's bark. It's used to modify a sonic emitter weapon. Let's see. You found the take it to the jukebox in the sink to recalibrate the sonic emitter for new effects. Interesting. Meanwhile, what do we want to try and use? Well, we've got a gun here.
So, you recovered the sonic interface.
That was way too much of everything. Well, if we can make melee books and barter books, we should no longer put any points into that at all. So, I think we just bring survival to 100. I think we bring unarmed to 60. And I think we put just a couple of points maybe into energy weapons. Really, I should probably just put more points into unarmed. No perk there. These scorpions are just going to show up whenever they're scripted to appear. This one is using MC coils overclocked, MF cells overclocked, which is all I've got. And so I don't have a lot of shell shots to use. So the trick would really be to more hotkey, like this gun, and then hotkey this gun, and then swap, fast swap between. Gabe looks like his entire head has been blown off, and yeah, I definitely would have to say I still don't think it was the wisest of moves to have dogs, even robo-dogs, be a major enemy.
Eureka!
Yeah, we have misfortune again. It's like the only way I think maybe you could get a good image of misfortune.
Destroy this one, I'll make more.
Yeah. Seems like he might do better. Now remember, we're going to basically have to come back to this area once we have the sonic emitter improved. Still don't have the key for that because there was a couple of places with shields, and I guess the big question will be, did those shielded locations, are they possibly full of resources that are extremely valuable, or are we going to find that it's very useless? The the best way the game can answer that question is to simply force the player to just force the player to go back to those locations to collect some other items.
The eye of Mobius sees you.
Misfortune is showing up quite often. I imagine that's because my luck is very high. Drink a sunset sarsaparilla while we're here. And while you can just hit the Q button to walk forward automatically on the keyboard, I don't believe if we were to look at controls, let's see. Yeah, there's nothing on the Xbox control that would move you forward automatically. So there is a distinct reason to potentially unplug your controller, switch to keyboard controls, but it still doesn't kind of work that way, because if I get out of this facility, even inside this facility, there's too high of a chance of there's just far too high of a chance of a random spawn attacking you. And you can't just walk past enemies at any point and let them hurt you. It's funny they're saying for queen and country. That seems like that would not be something that a United States rah-rah US robot would be programmed to say. These look like book printing devices, if I was going to throw out a thought here. So it definitely would make sense if they program that to actually do something. At a certain level, if you were ever going to actually have to come back to an area and search for items, it might just make more sense to have in every room everything picked up and placed in the closest container that you could find to the door. And that way, if you run through the room a second time, you would be more secure and that you've searched everywhere, or if you miss something, it would stand out quite a bit. So we could splice a robot and dog, we can splice a lobotomite and robot, and we can splice a lobotomite and dog. I would assume that all that splicing is just going to lead to something spawning here. It sure looks like something you should have interacted with. And here you have a unique looking generator type device. down here, you see a little bit of blood on the floor, which sometimes definitely feels just randomly placed. Is there some sneaky little item? As far as I can tell. Once again, we're getting a great example where over-encumbrance just ruins a game. This would be a small area that you could just run around, pick up the few items, and then move on with your life, but being over-encumbered, it is an extra 10-20 seconds just to walk in a certain direction. I suspect I may have something fairly heavy in my inventory, but I don't think it is just a case of needing to drop a vacuum cleaner, which is like 50 pounds. And we found some surgical tubing, so we can at least make a med kit. Also, I'm crippled, so that is slowing me down too. I would think the crippled nature of makes you walk funny, and maybe that is the case. Because I was seeing some weirdness in how I was walking just then, on top of just slowing you down. Of course, that then would be an extra walking pattern animation that would be fairly unnecessary. Right, well, place a robot and dog. That gives you a maybe dog pet that will be loyal to you. Roxy. Okay. I don't think Roxy gives me the same perk I'd like. So let's see. Doesn't really have a companion inventory to hold things. Let's see. Roxy is still here. Let's splice a lobotomite and robot. They're just dropping out of nowhere. They're just magically...
Who am I? I feel different, awake, alive for the first time ever. What is this strange new world around me? What does it hold in store for a dreamer such as myself?
So the robo-brain didn't work for long. So it seems like we're gonna get a dog, and only a dog, at this rate. Fade to black to clear things. This highlights how you could basically have done anything in the main game if you just went with that thought. Let's Seems like we're getting 50 XP every time we do this, so I wonder if there's real value in doing it again. Roxy is still behind us. And so here we have a lobotomite and a dog. And it goes horribly awry. And so we've apparently let's see what happens if we craft another robot and dog. Insufficient supplies, restocking, restocking. So you can only do it once. Okay. Good to know. So we have this robo dog coming with us, and he'll help us fight, I imagine, but he has no inventory, or she has no inventory to help us fix our overburdened issue. I would imagine that's not going to get me into the kennel. So before I leave here, we are in X8. Like, both of these quests find the key to the X8 kennels, sonic emitter EM pulse wave upgrade required. Begin the advanced institutional test for the sonic emitter upgrade. I am confused. So I just don't know if I should walk my way through the whole facility yet again while being over encumbered, or what? Well, you know what I think we can do? There's a vacuum cleaner that only weighs 10. I think we probably can drop some things off. If it's a weapon I'm not going to really use, and it's very heavy, yeah, we're at 639 weight. Guess the next question is if it's a weapon that we're not going to use anyways, we should also drop it off. And see, that still only gets you to 570, so the majority of this, I think, is probably just a heavy dose of food. Which we need to take the food back to the facility, I think. also suspect there's just a ridiculous amount of crafting ingredients. We'll keep the sunset sarsaparillas, even though that's a lot. And get rid of most of the weapon repair kits. It's still only 485, so yeah, the vast majority of items that are weighing me down are things, miscellaneous items, a lot of which I have really no reason to even bother to try and carry with me back. I'm just picking up random stuff. What's annoying is you often have things like hammers that I don't think are actually crafting ingredients, that are easily confused with things that are crafting ingredients. Down to 280 now. If there was only just a way you could recycle some of this. I was thinking maybe plungers would be a ingredient that you would use to repair something, but no, that's not the case. If I am a lot more careful about what I take back, that might put me in a pretty good position. Alright, so where's our other gun? This must not have been the same gun. Nope, it isn't. But whatever. Okay. There is a advanced test now. Field disruptor catchment for centimeter to better navigate the area, protectrons. Basic things, success retrieves the steering for this failure. Oh no. So, to do that quest, it does say upgrade the sonic emitter first. Okay. Which means we do have to just walk back. We'll just take all of that and become over encumbered. And this will put me in a good position because I was going to take a break here anyways. This puts me in a great position to not only take a break but walk. So, yeah. Where's Roxy?
My robo-scorpions will soon conquer the crater. It's just that this is a big place, so it's hard hard to conquer everything.
Apparently there's a robo-dog, a robo-scorpion trapped in the walls there. Yeah. I don't think I can overclock anymore. I don't think that works. So the real danger here is going to be running into something more interesting than just a random enemy. And as far as Roxy is concerned, I think Roxy may very well just be trapped, either stuck in the ground, like that visual glitching that's happening with Robo Scorpion, or Roxy may just be something that needs to be programmed more as part of a quest in that area. Okay. So my overall goal, though, is I'm just going to walk back to this area since I am over encumbered. We will walk sort of through this Boomtown target zone, and we'll avoid this DNA preservation lab. Like, any of the extra places should be avoided. It is pretty obvious now that that was the case. So from here to there, it's just going to be some radiation and military cyber dogs and other random enemies. One thing, yep, so I don't think we would miss too much doing that. Let's just do it on screen. I have been skipping some content when I try to do full long plays and show all the content in most games, but so far the things I've been mostly skipping has been trading out items and crafting, and honestly that would be the more pertinent content to skip, is just playing menu hero over and over again. There's also just room for distraction walking around this area and potentially finding something there.
It's just that this is a big place, so it's hard to conquer everything.
One of the issues that they really aren't, I think, doing the best thought on is that this crater would have definitely had to have existed before the bombs fell. So what you would want to do is take this same kind of level design and apply it to after the bombs fell. Have it be a case that some societies got together and decided to build a city in a nuclear crater. I guess they do exactly that in the first major town in Fallout 3. I just finished a challenge which gave me maybe 75 extra XP. I definitely do wonder if that's how we're going to get to level 50. And I definitely do wonder if there's any room here to go above level 50. If there was no real limitation and you could get to, say, level 100, that would be nice. Speaking of nice, it would also be nice if there was a way up and over, and I guess I'm gonna have to come up here. I'm sure you can kill time reloading, but that's only gonna take a second or two. Particularly out in this area, just taking everything has an extra value. Particularly if you're already over encumbered. Because then, if I was to revisit running around in circles, which, let's face it, that is likely going to happen, so that I'll run around in circles more often in a tight loop around the central location, and less often in a wide loop around the exterior perimeter. But man, if I could just walk and craft right now, if I could just walk and even be in the inventory right now, it would give me something to do. And in a crazy way, I can't really suggest this because this would drive people crazy. But having kind of a time limit for crafting, where you can put in orders to craft things, but it takes a while, and then every step moving that clock forward would be an interesting way to just make it feel like something was happening. I did hear in one of the lines of dialogue that this bluegrass is made from organic waste.
The rest of you should try this intercom thing. It makes you sound like some kind of sky god.
They don't have anything for him to say otherwise, I guess. But yeah. The robot dogs. I'm not sure where they're getting all of their food and water from. But it also doesn't matter. I don't need to find like dog bowls all over the place full of water that automatically refill, or automatic robots that are scooping up dog poop. None of that really matters. We can just suspend realism. This is not refilled, this is not refilled. I had some hopes there, but apparently no such luck. This, however, is all working. And it seems to me like you're going to get 2 of everything, except for maybe this one. And it seems to me like we have found all the appropriate items. Let's just take a quick spin around here. Yeah.
Muggy? Yeah, Muggy's alright. Not too seedy. But hey, nobody's perfect.
Okay.
Well, hello. I love.
So we've given him, I think, just everything we can give him as far as that goes. So now our survival is at 100, so we've got some new things here, like fiery purgative. Let's see. Night stalkers. Sunset sarsaparillas. Dog steak is just dog meat. But then I'm pretty sure that increases the value. So yeah, for the first time, we are now at least in a better position. Let's see what we can create otherwise. Nuclear grenade. Recycling. 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 Weapon repair kits. Tin grenades. Homemade flamer fuel. So, kind of obvious here. I probably need to start making max charges if I'm going to do anything, instead of overcharging. For both kinds of guns. And then I still think over here probably isn't too much to make. But I could probably make a whole bunch of these 10mm rounds. Be happy with that. Let's see. Scrap metal to lead. Incendiary rockets. Might as well. Yeah, overall there really just isn't anything here to craft. We should break down something to give us pistol powder. That's where we put all of our guns. Thought we had the personality core to upgrade the gun.
Might I be of service, sir?
Okay. So let's start with that being repaired. And then we could also
require some additional.
Yeah, healing for free. Fade in, fade out. Now that the sonic emitter is fixed, maybe we can activate this. No. Okay. So I'm gonna stay in this room and do a lot of sales and trading off screen. Let's make a safety save first. A lot of crafting, a lot of gun repairing, everything we can possibly do to get as many caps as possible while also lowering our encumbrance. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So we've hit a point where things are going to get a little bit more complicated because with this
Might I be of service, sir?
sales interface,
Very good, sir.
there's only at the moment 5,000 caps in there, and it just does not seem like it is going to reset. And there's only 5,000 caps in here because I bought every single bullet. So as I continue to get more garbage items that are mostly low value items, they are taking up more and more space. So yeah, once I get that 5,000 down to zero, is what I'm trying to say here, I'm going to have to start taking back the highest quality weapons of the highest value weapons to try and just keep it balanced, because it's just to continue to try and make caps. And then those high quality weapons I'm going to have to store in here with all the other stuff that I'm going to take once I just leave the environment. I have found that the weapons repair kit is more valuable used than sold. It's only worth about 160 caps, whereas if you repair a weapon using 2 of them to full, 2 or 3 of them to get to full condition on a weapon, you'll get a lot more in the value of the cap than 160, several thousand more. So implants wise, I have enough to waste on this, so we might as well do it. Like, we very possibly will just never use this 10% to Cazador damage, and you're almost certainly not going to use it in this story.
Require some additional services?
And I suppose it's worth checking just to see if that would have unlocked anything else. Now weirdly, the Sonic upgrade is not just talking to this. And I guess I didn't really run around here and see if maybe I had picked up the personality disc for something else. So right now all we have is this working, and this working. Which
You ever seen a biological research station this full of seed? No.
Yep.
No, you
I've also spent a lot of time looking at just like what ingredients are needed to craft. A significant amount of these recipes really can't even be accomplished, even if you have the Salient Green, even if you're making cloned versions of other items, because there's one natural item that you need for every thing. So yeah, I've done more sorting, and so I'm gonna have to remind myself to come back and grab all of that later. Now the quest here says upgrade the sonic emitter, and then is pointing me in this direction. I think it's probably efficient to go and just check on the think tank first and see if they would upgrade the sonic emitter. Otherwise we can grab a bunch of garbage in this environment and see what happens. Because remember, this was a spot where the game had crashed before, so I had grabbed all of this stuff.
Breaking news! Talking lobotomite arrives in think tank. Its purpose unknown, undefinable. Its presence here impossible.
Let's see. Now we have a whole new quest.
Oh, Really? Now the lobotomite is a master of the dictionary arts. What, do you have a doctorate in verbology? No? I do. And stop the presses. Just in from my eye monitors. Is that Robco tech on your arm? It is. What's your agenda bringing that in here?
Let's see, some problem with Robco.
How dare you bring Robco tech in here? What are you showing off? How great Robert House and his big company are?
Oh, we can make Securitrons better than any robot those geniuses at Big Mountain can make, and they'll last 1,000 years.
You're lucky I don't have hands to tear that dip boy off your arm, or feet to stomp on its stupid metal guts. Ugh. Damn Robco.
Let's see. I don't think I'll worry you by telling me what House and his robots have been up to since.
Worry about House? Why would I do this? Hope he died alone in a dingy room, streaming his last remaining bodily fluids into jars. And him and his dirty girl bots. Don't even get me started on those filthy biological catcher's mitts. Fine. Ask.
Here's some interesting connection, I guess, to the main story. Of course, they don't really know at what point in the main story we are at.
All things robotical. You see a robot? I made it. See a broken robot? I made it that way. Deconstructed it down to parts. I have a gift with machines. I can render anything inoperable. Preserve them in a non-functioning state. Who asked you? You just wait until a working machine threatens you, and you'll wish I was around. Yeah, I do. It wasn't always oh. I just took that one by default because sometimes it's easier to accept the mistake as long as the purpose works. I don't want to get into it. It's a sore topic with me. Makes my gel ripple.
So we have a speech check here.
Great. Psychology. Clearly the worst of the sciences, right after collostodiuretics. Okay, so my name is an O, never was. It was circular, a single character, digit, but not O. But even with enhanced sensors, no one here could get it right. Always kept seeing the letter, not the number.
So he's Dr. Zero.
Yes, thank you. Zero. I am Zero. How hard is that? A narrow, thin zero.
So...
Zero's my name. I'm proud of it, all right? It doesn't get the recognition it deserves. Truth be told, my emotional attachment to it doesn't even register compared to just having people recognize the difference. It's just that they're both sort of round and hollow, so when they monitor scan them, they assume that, oh, it's O. Vivisect me, please.
Here we have an Intelligence 9 response.
What?
Zero. Draw a slash through it. It's standard termlink code to distinguish the two.
Did I shoot myself with a brainial beam or something? That's brilliant. I mean, I would have come to the same conclusion.
I'm wondering if the name is going to change in the top right.
Who am I deceiving? I never would have figured that out. I can't figure anything out. I'm useless. Exactly. At least the old name was indisputable. O is more like surprise. Oh, look what I stepped in.
Seems like we got several different things here to choose from. Let's just go with this one.
Are you coming on Mentats right now? Oh, of Discovery, my reflective posterior. Well, actually, now that I think about it, that's not bad. Oh, look what I found. Oh, Dala, it's holotape, but not holodisc. Maybe that's not so bad. All works. Might give me some much-needed motivation. Thanks. Talking to you, it really helped unclog some frustration. Talking. What a primitive form of thought-kicking.
So, this seems like this is the location you want to go to if you want to have any conversations at all.
Oh, do I? Oh, do I? Sounds like a song lyric. As for discoveries, well, of course. Look at this. Just, built it. Amazing, isn't it?
Choose scrap electronics.
You know what? I'm not even gonna pretend. I broke one of the monitors, and those innards start falling out everywhere.
I don't know
If you
how
could just
they
hold on to
hand
that
you
for me
things.
until, well, forever, that would be welcome.
Yeah, when they don't have hands. Yep. All the other characters that fly, robots that fly, have lasers or something on their hands. This one is just monitors.
That genius Mobius somehow cobbled together these really impressive-looking robot scorpions with spare parts. Even painted them. Tried to see what makes them tick. Can't even examine them without them detonating all over me. Left with shrapnel and burns. Every time. Supposedly, he has even larger models, even a giant robot scorpion hidden deep within the Forbidden Zone. Yeah, right. Giant monsters, sure. Yeah, crazy, right? Something right out of a midnight science fiction feature.
That's the name of this
Ridiculous.
DLC.
What are the odds? Big Mountain used to be a mountain. Then there was a slight mishap. Now it's a crater. The dome used to be buried, now it's exposed to the sky. Don't get me wrong. Makes the sky light up like a planetarium at night. All those spectra. So soothing. I'd have a few left. Let me check. Yeah, there were a few under the monitors here. Here you go. Keeps the place tidy.
So that's 50 caps you get there.
Until our next scheduled audio transmission and reception, then.
So quest-wise now, let's just move over to this and let's just talk to everybody else.
I love to hear you breathe.
Now I don't know how Dr. Diala would be Modius, other than Dr. O would be the O, Dahlia would be the D.
You are an unusual specimen to so boldly walk into the mighty expanse of the think tank, fearless and proud as a teddy bear. Between the extraction
This is
of
going
their
to get
higher
exhausting
reasoning
very
abilities and
fast, so I
urination-inducing
think
fear,
I might just do a
most
couple.
Automites dare not approach us, let alone speak to us. Yet you have no such fear. Facing me,
Just
epidermis
too
flushed
much.
with blood. Will you indulge?
So the quick scribe jumped over the lazy paladin instead of the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog, which that phrase is used to test every single letter A through Z in fonts. I wonder if the quick scribe jumped over the lazy paladin does include all of the letters. No, it doesn't, because there's no W. That's why they say brown fox in it. Without that, you're missing a W. Your scribe doesn't have a W in it, and paladin doesn't have a W in it.
Yes, go on. Seeing your lips and mouth forming words, both revolting and somehow... How does it feel to have the flesh roll around in your mouth like that? To control each muscle
This is
and the tongue.
very creepy
Like having
writing.
a fish or extremely dexterous slug lolling and flopping in one's mouthal cavity.
You do have a Searche la Femme. Seems to me you have more biological needs than your counterparts. Let's go with that.
What? Nonsense.
Close eyelids, breathe deeply, then stretch languidly, turn and cough roughly, then slowly scratch the nose. Run your hands along the side of your face and exhale rapidly. Think if we're trying to turn on this robot, the first one would be the option. Remember, I'm playing as a female character. Most people would have been playing as a male character, so the events would probably play out a little bit differently.
What? What are you doing?
I guess we're going to probably end up doing all of them.
Stop it. Why? Why are you making me partake in this filthy formography? Enough. I am already intrigued. You have sufficiently percolated me. I don't know what it is about the biology of lobotomites. It infects my thoughts. All that skin and muscle and tissue. Perhaps there is value in what you say. I did so enjoy breathing once, long ago. Would you? I feel so ashamed, but yet so intrigued. You'll need to give me a rest in between visits, or else my jaw might run over. If you're ready, let me radar scan you. Slowly. Woo. Woo. Purple, purple, woo. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Purple. Ba-ba, bloop. Ba-ba, bloop. Ba-ba, bloop. Whew. Last little bit there. Thank you, lobotomite. Please, you must come back for further study when I've had a rest. I'm a little sensitive right now.
So basically, a sex joke. Very erotic weirdness going on. Still, there's just a whole bunch of other dialogue now we have to do.
Why, my little bear of teddiness. I am Dr. Dala, first head chief researcher of mineralogy and medicinal sciences. I have 211 doctorates in both applied sciences and techniques to apply those sciences. I also possess a degree in curiosity and advanced curiosity. That is merely schooling, however. When possible, I prefer fieldwork and observation to holotape eidetics. It has proven useful, especially now. I have become the expert on humanology and lobotomite behavior here at Big Mountain. My research doesn't descend into formography. It is only science. Why, we create not only scientific marvels here at Big Mountain, but new sciences as well. Everything can be quantified, categorized, and dissected until every group can be subgrouped or partitioned.
So let's keep on asking the
What
questions
is a name
here.
without a title or suffix for the sake of hierarchy? It is a long-standing quantification of personality and importance. We could not do without it. Surely you must be aware of the gravity of such attached appellations, just as surely as you must have a title. Oh, a mailman. A delivery man. Someone who takes parcels from place to place using their primitive feet or similar conveyance.
You know, being
You
a
are the
courier
second one
is
I've met in recent times. Very
an
different
interesting,
specimens.
interesting name and title to give to your main character, because you do spend so much time acting like a courier, moving items from one place to another. It seems like we have a connection here to this other courier, this mysterious other courier, which we're going to meet in another DLC.
Of course. You must have met others in your travels. This one had met other couriers too, although it sounded as if he hadn't met the correct one. He asked us all many questions, and then he asked a most perplexing one. We had to segment the event out of our memories for safety. I do not know, nor should we try to access it. Perhaps Klein has the logs. My evaluation would be to let your own curiosity go. I do not think that Klein remembers the conversation as being satisfactory. Oh, removing it is a simple procedure. Well, except the complications it can cause to the heart and spine. But once the heart and spine are gone, no trouble at all. Clamp the subject down. One laser incision around the skull. Crack, snip, done. The brain is finally free of the skin envelope, which is then kept automated for cleanup duties around Big Mountain. Lobotomites. With you, however, something is definitely wrong. We've never had a lobotomite who kept speaking after being forcibly lobotomized. I am relieved the pacification field is working. If it didn't, I would broadcast some concern to my colleagues about safety protocols. That is a good question. My theory is that the Tesla coils in your brain pan are still connected to your brain somehow. It really could be anywhere. Brains are a lot smarter than most researchers give them credit for. We still have your spine and heart. If you were to somehow find your brain, wherever it sloped off to, you could humanically reduce yourself again.
So, one of the things I thought that might be the case is that we might actually be a synthetic human. But if they're going to reveal that, they would have revealed it at the end of the main game, I think.
It is the pacification field emitters that are broadcasting into the emptiness of your skull. Without a brain, your aggression is suppressed in here. Why would you want such a thing? You might surrender to your hormones and commit primal aggression on me, on us, again and again. Then I would have to return the favor, activating my vivisectors and gently lobotomizing you from behind. Not something I would relish doing. No, the only way to circumvent the field is to have a brain, and we extracted that like we do all lobotomites here. Perhaps you are stuck in a moving gesture of verbal intercourse.
Perhaps. So it seems like at some point we are just going to probably come in here and shoot all these people.
Dr. Mobius, a monstrous brain creased with wrinkles of 1,000 evils, with but one jaundiced eye with which to perceive the world. Exiled from the think tank for crimes too heinous to remain in recorded memory, and perhaps differences in research methodology. His one terrible eye forever peers at us, an eye of ever-increasing magnification. He watches from his dome in the Forbidden Zone, spying on us all. It'll all become clear. If not, at least we will have the technology here at the Dome, where all technology belongs. When we have all the technology, all the answers, we can share it with the world, piece by piece.
Yeah, I really don't have a lot of faith that this group would ever help society in any way.
The Big Empty? Now that's not a proper title for this research facility. You sound like previous test subjects that came here. This mountain, now crater, encompasses the sum total of knowledge of humankind. It is Big Mountain, where all questions can be answered. You'll see. No matter what your questions, Big Mountain will provide the answers, as it has done for so many before you. Oh yes, we've had other subjects visit.
They admit you're a test
That's why we
subject.
had to calibrate the pacification field and warm up our brainial beams and vivisectors. Only a short time ago, we had 3-1 subjects arrive, and they ruined several experiments, and even injured 2 of our staff. It is a shame their brains left with them. With you, however, we have taken precautions to ensure that problem won't repeat itself. We've conditioned you so you can't speak of this place, discuss our secrets, or attempt to use force against us in any way. Isn't that nice? Because 3-1 is 2. 2 spoke to us, one after the other. One mean, one curious. But there was a third we didn't speak to. The last one is the -1. It got traumatized, then taken to one of our medical centers for de-traumatization. A rather unsettling procedure.
I'm not sure if this story is going to lead to anything.
Ask Dr. O. And you could have asked 8 once, until he was severely damaged in the attack. We like him better this way. Until our next interaction, my intriguing little lobotomite.
Alright, so yeah, that's just a little overwhelming to now potentially go and talk to somebody else. I guess theoretically we should talk to Dr. O.
Predictable.
Move this story forward a little bit.
I don't like to talk about it. 8, he can't talk about it. They fried his voice module. Something good. It wasn't all the visitors, though. Only one of them got out of control. He's the one that took control of Little Yangtze, our old human farm. This human, I can't believe it. He broke out of the think tank in seconds. Then he went for Yangtze, got bomb collars, and started practicing on the subjects that were still there until he got the right frequency. We were sending robots to stop him, and he was slicing and cutting through their shells with some souped-up laser gun like they were cheese paper. When he hacked into the mainframe, A tried to stop him and got fried. Me? He rerouted my processors to take control of the train network here. If you see the tunnels with the trains plowed into them, you can thank our visitor for that. He wrecked the whole place. While we were trying to keep containment on the surface, turns out he used one train to punch out a tunnel and escape. Sealed now, but...
So yeah, we're getting more experience doing these quests, at least.
2 other human specimens. One arrived not long after the troublemaker, and the last one, not sure when he showed up. Thought the first one was going to be lobotomized in Y-17. She got out somehow. The last subject, Klein might know more. He talked to him, and let him leave the think tank. Hope he knew what he was doing. Klein knows things we don't. And I think he told some of those things to the last visitor. Dangerous things if they ever got out. Until our next scheduled audio transmission and reception, then.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we are just going to have to power through with these conversations, though. Otherwise, it is just going to turn into a situation where I'm not going to remember what people were even talking about. Let's see. It's not a real code. So unless our repair skill... So, like, why even try and ask him questions? Yeah, and you can't translate it. And so there's just like a whole conversations you can have here. Let's see. So here we have a science. Wait, after listening a bit, that's Robco Termlink protocol you're broadcasting. Let's see. So apparently the character that I'm playing as is able to understand what's being said. So now we figure out that we can hack it. So I've just hacked Dr. 8 and tell... And see, the rest of this conversation I think is probably pointless. And you just have to read all of it. I don't think any of it... Anyways. So I hacked Dr. 8, but I don't think I'm gonna ever repair Dr. 8's dialogue, which I think does just give us an excuse to not really talk to him. It definitely seems to me like the player character knew what was being said, and if I read what was being repeated, I would have been able to figure out the conversation, but in general, I'm just kind of assuming that that's unimportant. And so, here's Dr. Boris.
The lobotomite animal before me. What other terrifying terrors will plague
So they
us
smashed their
in our
monitors
quest for
onto
knowledge?
the
Communists?
switches, it looks like.
Communist animals, perhaps? Be warned. Attempt to propaganda me. I will shriek as a frightened babe, calling loyal cyber dogs to my aid. Do you comprehend, commie animal?
Let's see. Let's just go with this middle one.
Drama? There is no drama in science. As I learned in high school, science is an intellectual pursuit devoid of bestial emotions. Unless, of course, you are a communist. Like Betsy Bright, who sat next to me in math, and her smoking Confederate Richie Marcus. As I learned in my high school, American High, AHS, drama is for movies, things of fiction. Here in the think tank, the only star is science.
Boris was the one that built the high school.
So, you put down Gabe. Thank you. A scamp, but really, his highly augmented combat programming could have proved meddlesome. In any event, thank you for putting him down. One less test subject to catalog and sort. Clearly a failure of Doggy's cybo-engineering. Before you is the brain of Dr. Boros, head of animology, beastology, and DNA scrambling technology here at Big Mountain. I lay the bones and hearts of animals bare beneath my searing gaze, especially the dogs. I did so love dogs once. Especially Gabe, that rascal. But there are many animals to shape. Industrious cazadors, the happy-go-lucky night stalkers. They are my living, breathing DNA test tubes.
Cazadors. We haven't run into any cazadors.
Indeed. Docile, curious, safe, sterile. They are contained here at Big Mountain to preserve DNA and for observation. No, such creatures are found only here, for research purposes. They would no more be capable of escape than breeding. I cannot expect a lobotomite to understand the careful surgical castrating procedures used in their creation. Perhaps a demonstration of my castrating power would settle your doubts.
Go ahead, might make me more fertile and impregnate.
Impregnate you? What? Do you want to make me vomit inside my tank? The mere notion makes the edges of my biomed gel crystallize into asymmetrical patterns. Nonsense! That is what you speak. Nonsense from beyond. I was at the top of my high school class in American high school. I knew facts. I knew figures. I knew data.
Clearly he peaked at high school.
We would know if our research was flawed. It is not. We never contradict ourselves. So do not even try. In 2000, let's see, carry the 3, then count backwards with the Great Static, or beyond, there were the tarantula debates, and something about hawks, which made it around 2003, May, Tuesday. It was definitely Tuesday. Why are we even debating this? What you ask is of no importance. Mobius besieges us. There are more important things to worry about than data and facts. The malignant tumor that is Mobius plagues us all. His hunger for power, insatiable. From his lair in the forbidden
There's definitely some repetitive stuff here. It would make a lot more sense if each of these brains was in a different location, owning a different portion of the overall map.
Or
course, the map would need to be a little bit bigger for it to matter.
Destroyed.
But yeah, if I'm thinking about the main game's map, you could have easily had 5 robot brains that were running things, or at least trying to run things in 5 different sections. Of course, the main map does have factions like that, but it's really just the NCR and Legion, and it's not like you run into too much happening because of the super mutants in Jacobstown or the Great Khans.
The radar fence protects us all. If evidence is correct, the one who built it is me. It keeps anything with a disembodied brain inside, like us, and anything without a brain also inside. It is the ultimate defense against communist aggression. There'll be no infectious ideas on my watch. It makes perfect sense. Who are you to question the mighty radar fence? Ever since my anxiety-filled days of powerlessness and being bullied in American high school,
You definitely needed to do this conversation before you got to the high school.
and giant cybernetic dogs that would ruthlessly patrol and kill anyone who wasn't my friend, like Richie Marcus and Betsy Bright. Who's laughing now, Betsy? I hope you and Richie are happy smoking in your radioactive coffins. I'm glad you never came to my birthday party. No! Beyond is death, despite mounting evidence to the contrary. No matter where these strange humans wander in from with their ideas and new brains, there is nothing beyond Big Mountain. Enough! Stop filling my precious brain cell units with irrelevant data. You sound like the other visitors, making wild claims of a world beyond, where there is a war beyond war. It is unproven and unthinkable. Bother the other doctors with your crackpot theories. I have no time. None of us do.
So, still have just like way too many lines of dialogue here.
There is logic and purpose in it. If these technologies are needed to pierce the Forbidden Zone, so be it. Science is powerful, and in the right hands, our hands, if we had hands, we would be nigh unstoppable. It is our home, threatened by the horrors of Mobius.
So,
All we wish to
Bolus
do is
would be the B,
continue our
or
research,
Boris
layer
would
upon
be the
layer, above
B.
and beneath the floor of the crater, until we have our
There's
answers. But no,
character
Mobius will not
in a
let
sci-fi
us
show that
rest,
came out much
scaring
later
us
than
with
this
his
named
scary
Boris.
robots with their laser tails,
I wonder if
and
that's
blowing up all the time.
related.
It was not our first choice of testing grounds, but we no longer have the luxuries of our test cities. Then we lost the mountain. After the explosion, we couldn't find it anymore, so the crater became our testing grounds for science. Yes. In the past, individuals would come to us, pay for technology, and if their town, community, or city was just right, we could use that city as a controlled experiment. Vault-Tec was much better at it, of course. We had to make do, get permission, sometimes. If only we could have used commie cities. But capturing whole cities was hard, so we captured enough commies to make cities of our own. So we had a group of Chinese prisoners to experiment on. Those were the days. But the true test was science on unsuspecting Americans. Whether it was holograms, new autodocs, toxins, vending machines, we wound them up, let them go into tiny, isolated towns. Then we observed.
Maybe this is the source of all the vending machines always getting refilled.
Boom! Yes, quite unexpected and embarrassing. All better now after the landscaping, though. Much more pleasing to our monitors. And the crater helps keep everything inside, because it is bowl-shaped. Submit
Really
your
don't
questions.
care about the other
I shall
questions.
respond with
But let's
deadly
just exhaust
answers.
everything. Okay.
Until next time, then.
Yeah. It's just really exhausting that basically 50 minutes there of going through conversations. Whereas if there was just 5 people splitting each section into being thematically controlled by each of the 5 brains, with maybe a 6th forbidden zone where Mobius is, would make a lot more sense. It'd also give you some more guidance as far as just each section looking visually different and being decorated different. This map is way too small for that, certainly. The overworld would make a lot more sense. You'd have to have a somewhat light touch if you were going to have 5 jars and brains play a bigger role in the main game. They probably should just be characters that have limited influence in the areas around them. Characters that Mr. House then would probably tell you to kill. There's Dr. Mobius's glasses. Take a large ruined book. And tats. So, if their Dr. Mobius's glasses are here, there is just more evidence to the thought that they are Mobius. Or they were once a part of Mobius. The other thing we want to find here is just Klein. And I am just taking every item I can find in this area, since it's a fairly small area that is also going to connect us directly back to the main location. Three filing cabinets all next to each other, easily confused for being just one. I almost wondered there if there would have been a radio broadcast for Dr. 8 that you could have listened in on that radio broadcast and understood what Dr. 8 was saying.
Have you done all we asked? If not, we will not hesitate to ask again.
You may have already been through this whole area. Seems like that's the case. And this is clearly Dahlia's room. and even trying to like break up the conversation a little bit. Not too much is going to happen here. I'd assume this is Dr. O's room. Did they really need rooms? No. So let's talk to Dr. Klein.
I can hear your penis-tipped feet tromping around.
Now, Klein, in particular, has a K in his name, so there's no way that letter would spell Mobius. So we have O D, it's Modius, M-O-D-I-U-S, 8, which could be an S, and B. There's no B either.
Have you done all we asked? If
So
not,
you would have to,
we will not hesitate to ask
you'd have to
again.
really stretch to spell these characters' names as Modius. But I still question if that isn't going to be the big reveal.
Did you retrieve the technologies yet? We need them, as I have indicated.
Let's see, we have a Science 70 here.
Why, yes. We are filled with the knowledge you speak of. If you wish to know more, simply ask the others. They can help you.
Let's exhaust all these questions.
Oh, yes, the last visitor. Well, the one just before you. Had an interesting name from some language that's almost impossible to speak. What did we speak about? Melancholy fellow. Had questions about history, but our conversation got interrupted. Twice, I believe. Once when the trains got derailed, and then a second time. Oddly enough, now that I'm accessing my databanks, I don't recall what the second time was. Mobius's incessant transmissions keep distracting me. Also, we didn't brain scrub the visitor. He may have left with some knowledge he shouldn't have. I believe, maybe. Oh, well, I'm sure it's of no consequence. I don't make many mistakes in calculation or perception, so probability favors me.
See, it almost feels like there should be some kind of prequel game that would have taken place in the same environment, but I don't believe, as far as Fallout 1 or 2 or Tactics, that it would have taken place in the New Vegas area. And clearly this wouldn't have been content that would have taken place in Fallout 3, unless we're going to find out that somehow the canonical version of the character from Fallout 3 made it to New Vegas, which would be kind of a long journey from Boston, New England area, all the way to Las Vegas.
I am Dr. Klein, Chief Head Researcher of Logistical Operations and Ideology here at Big Mountain. I am surprised you have not heard of me. I am first in my field, first chair, as it were, back in the days of chairs.
So, who is Mobius? I swear they say Modius half the time, too.
Dr. Mobius was not the horrifying creature you saw upon the screen, twisted by science. He was once one of us, a friend. He researched in directions contrary to the think tank. Brains, 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 always about the brains. So we exiled him. He says he left of his own volition, but that was to save him the embarrassment. Now he sends his intelligence-consuming scorpions from the Forbidden Zone to plunder the secrets of Big Mountain. He is a menace.
Let's see. A couple of questions here. Let's go with Medicine 50 since the requirement's higher. That's probably going to give us a higher reward if there is a higher reward available.
I'm not certain. Perhaps it only affects machines. If so, you may be immune. If it is chems, then we have nothing to fear. Since we are afraid, it must not be chems, and you need not fear, which means you can test it. Logical.
That gave us 50 XP. I feel like I would have gotten 50 XP either way. Let's go through this whole line of dialogue again and see if we can do science now.
Dr. O is certain of his findings, and no one else in the think tank is willing to test the results. Loss of brainial power. Terrifying. O has said on many occasions his inability to comprehend Mobius's robo-schematics is because of repeated robo-scorpion stings.
And that did give 25 XP instead of 50. Unfortunately, it also opens the door to the thought that there might be dialogue tree paths marked off as being done that lead to paths that aren't actually done, that lead to actual quest gaining conversations. But overall, it does kind of seem to me like there is going to be enough XP otherwise, regardless. There's also way too many conversation pieces that could have just been passed off to other characters.
It's a side effect of the cerebral scrubbing. It won't stop you from excreting or asking questions, apparently. Have to correct that next time. Hormonal aggressive tendencies are actively suppressed, however. They are a no-no and not permitted in the think tank. The scrubbing also ensures your silence to keep Big Mountain safe. This facility is top secret, and you cannot speak of it to anyone outside
we're just
of
gonna
Big
not
Mountain.
be able to talk to anybody about this after
and the anti-aggression scrub.
When we're done with this DLC.
We had to take precautions after the last visitors. They caused a great deal of damage in a short time. Should have made sure
I wouldn't
they
be
couldn't
surprised
mention
if there
Big
is
Mountain
actually
once they
a
left.
rather
An
large
oversight.
number of people that never got into these questions and started these quests. There definitely is some quests in the main game that I almost certainly missed.
Damaged 8's voice module. Suffice to say, those visitors are unwelcome. They stole a great many secrets and much technology. Impertinent. They also broke one of my trains. This is the think tank. The nerve center of Big Mountain. The greatest research center known to man. And to us. Here we test and test and test some more in the name of science. Atomic power, nuclear power, and scientific power. Yes, because the intellectually challenged see an M and a T next to each other and take Occam's razor to it. While you are here, you will refer to this place properly, and you will do the same with the other.
Oh, I just got the joke.
Here.
It's big MT, not EMPTY. That was flying right over my head. I didn't even think about it. It's not important, though, so... But yeah, nice pun.
That glowing red scar? That laser lobotomy canyon maze carved in the landscape as if by some child? It is Mobius's fortress. From that hemorrhoidal fissure, he sends his amazing robo-scorpions to terrify and irritate us. He always tended to the dramatic. Ask Boros. I believe he knows more about the fence than any brain. Except maybe Mobius. Mobius was involved in their construction, if I recall. But he's such a hack, he probably was reading off Boros' notes and schematics. Well,
Finally getting down to the end.
We tried to clean up after, as always, but usually the auto dock runs are remote. But we programmed it, or Mobius did. Still, this new wrinkle with the Tesla coils in your skull was unexpected. I mean, we predicted we'd have a breakthrough eventually, but Dala knows more. She supervised your spine peel and the heart circumcision, then dumped them both into the tanks in the sink above. Quite sanitary. Sure took her time. She always takes longer than projected with lobotomite surgeries. Not sure why. Yes. In all probable likelihoods, yes. Possibly. That it may have gone to Mobius is merely an inkling. I don't know why, but it may be something involving the surgery code. Actually, I don't know. All I know is it misplaced itself, or it floated off. They get into robots sometimes and go on a tear.
So let's go with medicine 75.
Yes, always leaves back doors into things. Have to keep finding them and closing them. The auto-doc is now erased of his routines. It was thorough. Only Mobius would know for sure what happened with the procedure. Perhaps. Well, and your brain, of course, it would know as well. It can communicate the procedure when we examine it. It is conceivable to trace its surgical scalpel prints once we have the brain. Might take some time, but your brain has no pain nerve to scream at us while we dissect it. Convenient. I detest screaming in my lab.
So this brings us back to the science 35 skill check.
Mobius's legacy code was in the old auto-doc. Yes, it fried itself after your procedure, so he couldn't tell for sure. It is unfortunate. We would have benefited from knowing how the breakthrough occurred. Even if we installed another chip, the information is lost.
We're just about to the point where we're going to level up again. I may have leveled up twice in this episode.
Why does he seek our destruction? Why did he build robot scorpions with intelligence training stingers? It is because he hasn't cleaned his biogel in a long time. Clearly he's got some sort of psychological corrosion. He's mad.
Did we get all the questions done now?
Yes, a most goodbye.
Okay. So we spent basically an hour doing all those quests, and it's put us close, but not close enough to be finished with the next level up. And then I imagine these plants are going to take a while to regrow. You could possibly wait for 24 hours and then they might regrow if you just needed to do that. And then I imagine I may not have too much to craft. I'm turning these into max charges instead of overcharges. This is a lot of work, certainly. See, I don't know why I can do overcharges but can't do max charges. I can make grenades, which I think are fairly valuable, but then that uses microfusion cells. And at some point here, I think I may just need to start turning microfusion cells into electronic cells. Yeah. And I'm not sure if I should do this conversion, but I probably would make some sense. My weight is at 207, so after doing all of that, the move would be to just drop everything we've got that we picked up. And then go ahead and drop anything else that has any weight to it. I guess we want to go ahead and get rid of the healing powder too. Just not going to use it. At least I'm not very likely to use it. Seven repair kits. Really just need one. What's weird is when you drink like whiskey, you don't get an empty whiskey bottle. I don't believe that you could then use to craft more whiskey into. One thing you certainly could do, as far as a mod goes, is you could make it so that when you pick up an item for the first time, it is much more like a Zelda game where they go, you've just gotten this item for the first time, and they do a little sound effect and make a big deal about it. And then after that, you just may not need to ever pick up that item again, that you would only need to find it once. Yeah, that'd be fairly easy to mod, to say you are given an infinite amount of a certain list of items. 122 seems like that is going to be our best bet. I don't know what is still taking up so much weight, though. Seems like sunset sarsaparillas. Get rid of half of them too. It gets me down to 107. That's probably about as good as it's gonna get. But yeah, mod that would give you an infinite number of certain items, miscellaneous items, once you had it. Or if you could,
all science will be mine.
could also be a case where you would have go ahead and load this up. Yeah, but yeah, obviously if you got a Nuka-Cola, you shouldn't get an infinite number of Nuka-Colas after that. But yeah, if you had an empty Nuka-Cola bottle, you found it once, you took it to a replicator type device, and in that replicator type device you could feed it other vendor trash. We'll just fast travel to this location. So Roxy. Will Roxy follow me? How could I have missed a scrap electronics just sitting on the floor? Interesting. So I don't think it's a case that the dog is going to leave this facility, but maybe it would. Maybe something weird just happened there. To upgrade the sonic emitter seems to require going through this area. Which means either going through the advanced thing, X8, enter the testing area, find the key to the X8 kennel, sonic impulse upgrade required. Okay. That's pretty much the only one we can do.
Attention, students. This is the pre-recorded voice of your pre-recorded principal, Dr. Principal Boros.
I'm assuming that all the items are pretty much the same. And we'd already been in these areas. Okay. Then I'm just hoping that this is where we can get the sonic emitter download. So now it can take down force fields. I did repair the sonic emitters at the maximum. We'll do energy cell bulk third time. Roxy as a dog will help out. Now weirdly, I wasn't expecting this shield to go down. Okay. I was definitely expecting it to be more of a situation like that, where it would take exactly one shot to take down each of the shielded locations. And it's really easy to not look upward and see this observation deck. Not sure what this is supposed to spell. I'm also a little confused here as to why I didn't level up there. Guess I don't have enough XP to level up, so I just completed the challenge, I guess. Alright, well, we're not over encumbered. That's good news. We've got the sonic disruptor for our shields, which means we need to probably go back and check a few places that we've missed before we move forward to do any other quests, just to see what we can find. And yeah, that was a pretty decent episode. It still definitely feels like this DLC is just written by a different group of people. Seems like it's more varied and more interesting in how it has been designed. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.